probably the biggest news in MMA right now, obviously, is the rekindled beef between Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. I think it's an interesting situation because initially, after Khabib beat Conor immediately was trying to lobby himself for a rematch. He had said he'd kind of stated what he thought he did wrong, what he did right, and that he could beat Khabib in a rematch. Well, he kind of lost so convincingly that nobody really was like, oh yeah, let's definitely book that. So we didn't hear a ton after the fight in terms of a rematch being announced or anything of that nature. But that's what Conor wanted, and he was told no by the UFC brass that, hey, we're not going to do that rematch. You need to fight someone else. And initially, Conor was okay with that. There was talks about him fighting Nate Diaz again. There was talks about him fighting Donald Cerrone, which I actually thought that was actually going to go through, which I thought would have been a really good fight. But here we are, flash forward to a couple days ago, and Conor puts a post in his Twitter that has a picture of Khabib's wedding, and his wife has a white veil over her face covering, you can't see through it. It's a pretty thick white veil. And he goes, the comment is, your wife's a towel mate, right? Now, of course, the MMA world fucking explodes over this information. And they immediately start saying, hey, this is a racist. Conor's a racist. He's insulting the religion. He's insulting Muslims everywhere. Well, he is and he isn't, okay? The comment itself, if you take the context of the comment in and of itself, your wife's a towel mate, it's disrespectful as fuck, for one. Not because of the actual words spoken. Like, it's not inherently racist, or it's not a racist comment if you were to break it down word for word. And I don't think that was the intention, but the intent of his words was to infuriate Khabib. So in that sense, that's where the real issue is, right? Because the intentions of him making that Twitter was specifically to enrage Khabib to the point to where Khabib doesn't want to fight anybody except for Conor again so he can smash him. Now, this is Conor. I think this is Conor's way of getting what he wants. The UFC said, no, man, we're not doing a rematch. You didn't really earn it. You got worked pretty hard in that fight. Khabib wasn't interested in a rematch, so Conor is doing what he thinks is necessary to get the fight that he wants, which is a rematch with Khabib, even though he doesn't really deserve the rematch. Where I really draw issue with this situation is the fact that I used to really like Conor's trash talk. I liked his bravado. I enjoyed the entertainment of his trash talking, his shit talking. Not every fighter is good at talking shit, and not every fighter should feel it necessary to banter back and forth, talk shit, whatever. But Conor was brilliant at it for a long time. And the thing about it is that initially he was never disrespectful in the sense where he never attacked the family or the spouses or the children or the religion of an opponent. He attacked the opponent specifically, and it was more stuff about why he's a better fighter than them, what they didn't do well compared to what he did or what his capabilities were. And for a long time he backed up that shit talking. But the problem is that he got so popular and so many people, fell in love with Conor that he felt it necessary. He has to keep outdoing himself every time, every fight's a bigger production. It's a bigger dramatic display. It's a bigger fucking movie, right? Where he has to constantly outdo himself. But now what's happened is he's outdone himself to the point to where he just looks like a fucking asshole. And he's literally swapping clever, funny, humorous, entertaining banter and shit talking to just being blatantly disrespectful, trying to poke the bear. He's literally just trying to inflict such an emotional response in Khabib that Khabib is going to refuse to fight anybody but Conor. And some would argue that this is a smart marketing campaign for Conor, I guess, you know. But it's nothing. It's, in my mind, this type of trash talking, it only regresses the sport of mixed martial arts. It doesn't move it forward. It doesn't shine a positive light on the sport in and of itself. It doesn't help progress the sport. And I think that when we look back at this moment in history of MMA, I think it's going to be kind of a black eye. It's not going to be a good look. It's going to be, we're gonna know the Conor McGregor era of mixed martial arts as what he's become, not really what he's done before. And it's really kind of sad, man, because could you imagine if Conor was able to keep riding that hype train, win or lose, he keeps riding that hype train with smart, clever, funny shit talking, like he did. Like what I don't think what he doesn't realize is that he didn't have to outdo himself. He was doing himself. Nobody was at his level in terms of promoting an event or promoting a fight. He didn't need to go above anything. He would just stay the status quo. Keep being you. Keep having that same funny personality, you know, because it's difficult to defend or justify these kind of comments. Now, Nurmagomedov obviously has retweeted his response or his rebuttal to whatever Conor is saying, and he's calling him a rapist and a terrible human being. I mean, this is just going to go back and forth. So I don't really think that Khabib's comments are any better in this situation in terms of his responses back to Conor. This is not something that I think is a good representation of mixed martial arts. This kind of hatred towards one another. And you know, and I'm gonna say, as much as I love the DC Jon Jones feud, I think in a certain sense that also is a negative reflection on the sport. Even though that feud, although those two men have said some pretty terrible things to one another, not a lot of their banter has been specific about one another's family. Although Jones did mention DC's wife at one point. I think it was something in regards to Jon Jones being able to basically steal DC's wife from him, and he couldn't do anything about it. It was kind of a funny quote. But I think we need to look, or we need to adjust mixed martial art. The fighters need to adjust and go back to being respectful martial artists again, because I think it's out of control right now. And as an MMA fan and the MMA culture, the problem with these kind of banters and these kind of disrespectful feuds is that it's like watching a train wreck. Because as a fan, you're eating it up. You're in a certain sense, you're loving the conflict, because it's like watching a fucking soap opera, and you can't get enough of it. But I think it's a poor reflection. I think as an MMA fan, as the MMA culture, we need to stand up against it and not appreciate that kind of banter, that kind of back and forth. I think we're really missing one of the main impetuses of mixed martial arts, which has always been respect of your opponent. Even if you don't like it, even if you don't like the person as a fighter, generally there's always been a level of respect for your opponent regardless. And it feels like that aspect of the fight game is starting to go away, and it's not going to help our sport. It's not going to keep moving it into the future, and it's really kind of sad. And in terms of Conor, I don't know what's going on in his head. What does he have to be so fucking upset about with? I mean, does he think this is funny? Does he think it's a good marketing? I mean, is it CTE? What's going on? Why is it? Because I mean, you really saw a shift in his personality for the lead up in the first fight with Khabib. And there was a bunch of dumb shit said on Twitter and between the two of them before they fought as well. So I don't personally, I don't like it, and I certainly hope that we find a resolution soon. At this point, we're gonna see the rematch. That's for sure gonna happen, and it can't come fast enough, because I think this next lead up to their rematch is just going to be really fucking annoying. It's just going to be really annoying, and I hope to God that it doesn't become even more disrespectful and even more more heinous. Because the thing is in the first fight, you already had Ireland versus Russia, and it was already pretty heated. Where you know, in Vegas after the fight and before the fight, you had these two groups literally fist fighting over two separate fighters. If the comments continue and the banter continues, someone's going to get killed. And that's going to be on the hands of both those men. Both those men need to stand the fuck up, apologize for being disrespectful, acknowledging the fact that they don't like each other, but they need to respect one another as a martial artist. And it might be too late for that. It might be too late for that. And to Khabib's credit, Conor is the only one that Khabib's ever been outwardly disrespectful to in any of his bouts. Conor's the guy that's pushed Khabib to want to cause permanent physical harm to his opponents. Generally speaking, Khabib's always been respectful, and Conor used to be too. Conor used to be respectful. He would still talk shit, but he would be funny about it. And then at the end of the result, he wouldn't continue it. For whatever reason, with this situation, it's got way out of hand, and I think something needs to be done. Dana White had released a statement that said it's getting ridiculous. But who knows? I mean, Dana wants fucking money, so he's gonna say whatever the media wants him to say, or whatever he thinks the media wants him to say, to save face. So hopefully, some kind of resolution is developed or is concluded with this situation, and we can get on appreciating the sport that we love in the first fucking place. Because I don't think that we should allow any time for this.